Welcome back. In this video, we are going to add a feature so that we can select the shader file using a file dialog. And I've used this RFD Rusty file dialogs before, never on Linux, so there might be some issues there. I remember reading it's not necessarily as simple on Linux, but we'll see how it goes. So let's go to the buttons section and maybe we'll say it's like the first button, whatever. So UI button load shader. If that's clicked, we are going to say how about a file dialog. So supported platforms, Linux, Windows, Mac. Okay, great. And what do we do with that? There's some filters. Can we just say, give me a new one? And what happens? So let file dialog. Let's see what happens when we do this, because I'm not entirely sure. I think you maybe have to run it in a separate thread or something like that, if I remember correctly. It's a lot of crates you need. A little bit gross, but okay. Right. So actually nothing happens, which is great. Does it have any methods? Okay, so we create one and then maybe we can say pick file. And we can set the title first, which takes something that can turn into a string. We can say load shader, why not? And then pick file. And let file equal this. And then we'll say pick file, this thing, file. And it doesn't depend, because maybe you don't pick a file, so it might be none. So what happens here? Okay, so actually we have to, it's like the builder panel. We have to say set title, load shader. Then we pick a file and so on and so forth. Okay, let's try that. Run. Actually, before we do that, let's do something. Let's say we want to set directory, set starting directory of the platform. And what does it take? It takes a path. So I think we can do something like this. No. Can we just do this? Yes, that seems to work. Let's try to run that. Okay, so I've been experimenting a little bit with it. I don't think I can get this starting directory to work. But what you can see now is when we have the dialog open, the main application is not responding. So that is slightly unfortunate. This thing returns an optional path buffer. So what we can do is put it in a background thread. So let's say file dialog job, whatever. It's going to be an option, I think, of a thread handle, join handle. And this one has a type as well, doesn't it? What does it say? Well, I think the T is the return type. So that's actually also going to be an option of a path buffer, which we may not have. So we should do something like that. Okay. maybe we want to use these things. But anyway, so we have a file dialog job. And what we're going to do is we're going to say self.file dialog job is going to be replace. And what are we going to replace it with? We're going to replace it with some value. And that value is going to be std thread spawn. And what are we going to do? We're going to do this, run this in a separate thread. And finally, we're actually going to just return whatever was picked. So something like this. And now it's in a separate thread. Right. So then we actually need to check this job, like periodically, is it done? And when it's done, we need to do something. So let's go ahead and check self.fd job. And it's like, okay, so let's say if we actually have a job running, we have a running job. Let's do something. So if it's finished, then we can get the result by joining it. So now this should be an result and option path buffer. I think we don't want to unwrap or anything here, so let's do something like if let okay some result equals the fd job dot join. Then we'll do some things with that. I think we should be able to do this. Okay, now we have unwrapped it, and it is a path buffer. Then what we should do is actually restructure our code. Let's add this. We don't have a job running right now. And actually, when we, what's this? Variable move due to use in a closure. Interesting. fd job move due to this method call. Can we like as ref it? Or like clone? I don't know. What is going on? Let's see if we can compile it. Cannot compile it because we have this move error. That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. Maybe, is it this like, no, that's not it. Can I just do this? No, it's because join takes, we'll return immediately. So really we have to maybe like take it, okay. But I don't want to take it all the time. We can say take if, right? There's this thing. only if the predicate value is to true. So we can say take if the job is finished. Then we take it, we know it's finished now, so we can do that. And now there's no issue with borrowing. This pattern matching. We get the path buffer here, and we can do some stuff. So let's try to build it. It seems to be working. Seems to be working. All right. So we have the hot reload function, and here the path is hard coded. So what I want to do is to add a file here, or a variable here, to the shader source path. And maybe it's going to be an option, because in the beginning we're not going to have anything, which is problematic with respect to this one. Maybe here we're actually going to say source is going to be a string, whatever, and going to say stdfs read to string, and going to read the source to string. But now it returns a result, which means we need to actually let this one potentially fail, I guess. So maybe we just like do that. I couldn't convert the error to std string. I thought it was a string already. No, the result is a string. Okay, so map error, and we're going to say just could not load file. Like that. Great. And this will be okay. So that seems to work, but now we have a problem here. The shader itself then, I suppose, has to be optional. And what we will do here is just to say none. Also shader source path none. And then here we have to say if let sum shader equals self.shader clone these things. This we don't need that. And there we go. Great. We just have a lot of compilation errors now. Hot reload. And we don't really want to try to hot reload if we don't have a shader, I suppose. Actually, maybe these should be tied together. That is a good question. Okay. Anyway, let's think about that later. So if we have some path equals self.shader source path, we may do some stuff. Get rid of that one. And we also need the shader. So let's say shader is self.shader object path, not shader. And then we can say that's fine. Like that. And this one will just say like ref. unwrap. No, it's already that. Can we just clone it? Do I have to say left of the clone there? That's fine. All right, other things. If let some shader equals self shader clone, then we may do this. Like that. Great. If let some path equals self.shader source path, that's ref, then we may do that, and we may say let shader equals self shader clone expect path but not shader, and remove the self. Great. And I think we made our way through all the compilation errors. Let's try to run it. It did not run. What's the error? The error is on this line. Fair enough. If let some shader stuff shader flow stuff. Okay, we don't need to clone it, but so yeah, now we don't have anything. Maybe we just want to make a kind of like a blank something, you know, UI. What do we have? Let's do this kind of thing, and then we'll actually allocate this anyway. So let's say we allocate it in either case, and then can we just like paint a rectangle or something? So let's paint on the rectangle. Great. We need corner radius, maybe that's just 0. We need fill color. So we can just say color 32 from RGB, and it will just be red. Or actually, let's make it like a dark gray. And that didn't work. It has to be something like that. Let's run this and see what happens. Okay, so now we have kind of black stand-in, but we still nothing happens when we load it, because what happens when the file dialog job is finished, nothing happens. So what we're going to say is we're going to say okay, if let some shader equals self.shader.take, then we are going to just destroy this. Probably a pretty good idea to do that, and we have to lock it as well. So lock and destroy, and it needs a context. So self.tl context, and it has to be borrowed. Okay, so we take care of that. Then we'll say self.shader source path replace with the result. Perfect. Then we're going to say self.shader replace with a shader. I have to say shader. Do I really have to do that? Yes, I do. New one with on this context with this path. And I do believe this one, maybe both actually. Do this. Okay, it expects a, so we need to change this type. Actually, we have to say, what is it doing here? It has like something. P, where P is as ref. Okay. And is it, was it a reference? No, it's just P. Okay. P, where P as ref std. Great. Now this code expected struct blah. Yeah, all right. That's because this thing is a result. So actually we have to say if let okay this or rather, you know what, let's match on this. If it's okay with the new shader, we are going to say self shader place with new shader. If it's an error, some message, we're going to report that message. Great. The return type of this call is shader due to its argument. Expected struct. Right, so we create a new shader, and then we have to wrap it in a bunch of stuff. We need to wrap it in an arc and a mutex. So arc new, mutex new. Like so. Great. This one, we just do that. And what do we have here? And okay, that's fine. We can clone it. Great. So let's check if it works. Okay, we have this. If I open the file dialog, we get this, and we can go ahead and try to load the shader. And it loaded it. Amazing. And now if we go ahead and check that this stuff still works, can we do this? Yes, we can. So I think that's gonna be it for now. We haven't really tested loading a new file if we already had loaded one, but I think we're just gonna leave that. And another thing that would be nice is maybe to fold this path into the shader itself. Like this shouldn't be two separate variables, it should just be in here. But that's for another video. So until then, bye bye.